Hello everyone, my name is Elsandie Wahyu Nugroho from class 07SIGE004. At this moment, I'm going to explain about language disorders in Introduction to Psycholinguistics. There are 6 main points on this picture, and I will explain it one by one. First of all, let's talk about the terminology and definition. This opening point discusses language disorders in children, exploring the various terms used to describe them, such as language disorder, language impaired, language delayed, or specific language impairment, or as we know as SLI. A language disorder is defined as a significant delay in using and understanding spoken or written language, involving aspects like phonology, syntax, morphology, semantics, and pragmatics. Researchers have been intrigued by children with language disorders who struggle with language learning despite the absence of apparent causes. Over 40 years of researchers has identified these children as having SLI, and suggests that their difficulties may be related to cognitive weaknesses. And then, next point is about classification and characteristics. It explores the classification of language disorders based on various factors. It highlights that language disorders can be categorized by specific language aspect affected, such as phonology, syntax, morphology, semantics, and pragmatics, and the severity, such as mild, moderate, and severe, and where it impacts comprehension, production, or both. The DSM-4, or Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 4, and the International Classification of Functioning, Disability, and Health use the expressive-receptive distinction for classification. Expressive language disorder, as per the DSM-4, involves language production skills below the expected age level, including issues with vocabulary, word findings, narrative skills, and grammar, affecting both spoken and written language. Receptive language disorder concerns difficulties in understanding language, affecting oral and written comprehension, leading to problems in following direction and answering questions. Mixed receptive expressive language disorder involves challenge in both language production and comprehension. It also discusses how subgroups of children with language disorders are identified based on this distinction, with some transitioning between subtypes as their strengths and weaknesses change. Additionally, it distinguishes between language-specific impairment, or SLI, and non-specific language impairment, or NLI, noting that children with NLI who perform below normal age limits on nonverbal intelligence measures are as responsive to therapy as those with SLI. However, recent research suggests that NLI children may face a higher risk of later reading disabilities compared to SLI children. Next point is about language knowledge deficit accounts. It discusses linguistic accounts or specific language impairment, or SLI, in children. One prominent theory, the extended optional infinitive, or EOI, proposed by Wexler in 1994, suggests that English-speaking children go through a stage where marking tense in main clauses is not obligatory, leading to inconsistent tense usage. Children with SLI struggle to progress through this stage at the same rate as typically developing children. Evidence supporting this theory shows that English-speaking children with SLI use morphemes unrelated to tense more accurately than morphemes related to tense. Other linguistic accounts of SLI include the inability to develop implicit grammatical rules, Kopnik, 1990, the missing agreement account, and the computational grammatical complexity count. The CGC account proposed that some children with a specific form of SLI have deficits in phonological system, affecting their ability to produce certain grammatical forms. And the fourth point is about processing accounts. It discussed various processing explanation for SLI in children. These explanations range from general processing definitions in terms of speed or capacity to specific processing limitation related to auditory information. General processing definitions such as slower processing speed and reduced processing capacity can affect both language and non-language skills. Studies have shown that children with SLI exhibit slower response times compared to their peers in linguistic and non-linguistic tasks. This general processing limitation may also explain why children with SLI may have difficulty using morphosyntax, particularly when it involves quickly perceiving and processing grammatical features in spoken language. Specific processing accounts have focused on deficits in auditory temporal processing and phonological working memory, while some researchers previously believed that temporal processing issues were specific to auditory information. There is some debate about this now. However, some still hold the belief that children with SLI may have particular difficulty processing auditory information, which could be a contributing factor to their language impairments. And the last point is consequences. Understanding language disorders is crucial, not only for early identification, but also for comprehending their long-term consequences. Children with language disorders face significant languages in subsequent reading and academic learning. Researchers indicate that many kindergarten children with language disorders continue to struggle with reading even into grade 10, impacting their overall academic achievement compared to peers with typical language skills. In summary, the material provides a comprehensive exploration of language disorder in children, covering their definition, classification, possible causes, and enduring consequences these disorders have on a child's educational journey. Thank you for listening my explanation. Goodbye.